As I drove to work, I thought about the conversation my wife started during dinner last night. It wasn't the first time, but it was becoming more frequent, and I didn't understand why she wanted to know how many women I had slept with before we became exclusive. I also asked if I ever fantasized about them during lovemaking, to which she replied categorically that I didn't. My wife and I had been married for 5 years, despite some flaws in our marriage. My name is William Harrison, but my friends call me Billy. My wife is Molly. I'm a 51-inch blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy of Nordic descent with some Irish temper that I learned to control in high school through numerous fights. I believe my wife felt the same way, and we were living a great life with good jobs, a nice house in a nice area, enough money, and free time to enjoy vacations, good wine, food, and entertainment. I learned to control my Irish temper in high school by playing sports. Throughout the year, I play soccer and hockey, lift weights, jog, participate in an adult soccer league, and love pond hockey. My wife, Molly, was a natural love magnet with her sparkling eyes, flawless skin, and captivating smile. She was a great listener and non-judgmental, and although her friendliness occasionally verged on flirting, she never went too far in inappropriate behavior. Molly's vivacious personality and gorgeous body drew attention. She was 5', tall, blonde, blue-eyed, and had an amazing figure, especially her legs and firm hips. She kept fit by going to the gym 4 or 5 nights a week, which was her main pastime outside of work. I used to joke that I wanted to grope her whenever she passed, and she didn't mind. Molly's personality was ideal for me, despite the fact that she had a flaw that occasionally resulted in emotional conversations. Once she made up her mind, she wouldn't change it because she felt she was correct, especially in non-scientific matters, making her quiet. Unlike me, who had many physical partners during my senior year of high school and the first 2 years of college, Molly was stubborn on some issues, and it was almost impossible for her to change her mind once she made up her mind. We married immediately after college after dating exclusively for the last few years of my education. One of my first partners was an older divorced woman who taught me a lot about making a woman happy and making her feel her best. Because of her, I became proficient at making sure my partner is happy before we get married. Work as a mechanical engineer at Abbott Labs, designing and testing injection-molded components for medical devices like ventilators and pumps. I enjoy the challenging yet low-stress job that also allows me time and money for hobbies. My most recent project is restoring a 2005 Winnebago B-Class RV for a week. I explained this to Molly when she asked how I knew how to please her so well while being grateful for my experience. She felt jealous about missing out on different partners and physical experiences. Molly was a certified public accountant, CPA, who worked for a prestigious national accounting and consulting firm. Her job paid well, wasn't too stressful, and occasionally required travel. She accompanied junior CPAs on audits to ensure thoroughness and proper training. Most recently, Molly had been traveling with Andrew, a new employee beginning his 3-year path to become a certified public accountant. Molly once remarked on Andrew's attractiveness and confidence after their first trip, but they hadn't spoken. Our lovemaking life was still wonderful, but as I spent more time finishing the RV, I became more excited about our upcoming trips. However, I noticed that Molly wasn't as excited and seemed less bubbly and open in her communication with me. A few times in the past weeks, Molly came home late and passionately started making love. The last time, her underwear was already wet, indicating that she was extremely turned on by something. After one of our intense post-work lovemaking sessions, I went down to begin dinner while Molly jumped. I decided to talk to Molly about it over dinner after feeling that something had been strange lately. Molly enjoyed the hot water, but she was also feeling guilty because she had been attending happy hours and lunches, and recently she had been dancing and having dinner with her coworker Andrew. Their conversations had become more flirtatious than a married woman should be able to have because she was obsessed with this secret and the idea of falling in love with another man. She was determined to spend a weekend with Andrew and was thinking about how to talk to me about it. She loved me deeply and didn't want to hurt me, but she felt that if I loved her as much as she knew I did, I would understand and we could move past it, even strengthening. She hoped that spending a week making love with him would help her get over the obsession and refocus on our marriage. She knew I had many partners before our relationship and believed she and I would never cheat on each other. Wasn't deceiving herself, but she had already made up her mind when Molly came down to the kitchen. I had made shrimp salad, cornbread, and 2 glasses of wine, and as she sat there, I said, "We need to talk about something." But I wasn't sure how to start. "Billy, just say, what's on your mind? We love each other and can talk about anything, so I also need to talk to you, but you go first." Oh, that sounds a little menacing, but many marriages end with the phrase, "We need to talk." Don't be silly, Billy. This isn't bad. It's something that will benefit me in the long run. I don't know how to put it, but something feels wrong with you two. You haven't been as open and lately, Billy. Did you forget about the incredible lovemaking we just had? Molly? I'm not talking about that. But since you brought it up, what made you so aroused that you nearly tore my clothes off? Molly's expression changed to one of worry and guilt. If you don't like that I'm so aroused for you, then perhaps it's your problem, not mine. I could see your defensive demeanor, Molly. I'm sorry that came out incorrectly, but please keep in mind that I love you and our life together more than anything. What we have is precious to me, Molly. I'm really worried about whether you're having an affair, Billy. How could you say that? You know I would never cheat on you. I respect you too much. However, I need you to listen to me completely before responding when I'm done. Can talk about it, okay? I love you and I want to spend my life with you, have children, and grow old with you. This may be difficult to hear, but please listen. Do you remember Andrew, my coworker with whom I traveled? I've been going to happy hour, having lunch with him, and even having dinner with him last week. What the hell, Molly? You claimed that you weren't having an affair, but now you're confessing to one. I haven't cheated on you, but you promised to listen. Perhaps I went too far by not telling you I don't love you. But we've been flirting and sharing things with physical innuendo, so it felt innocent until he told me he wanted to make love to me. He's 7 years younger, fit, and handsome, and I felt infatuated with him. I jumped up in a rage, saying, "God damn it, Molly, are you leaving me? Do you love him? Are you sure you haven't already screwed him?" Molly cringed at what she had said. "No, I haven't screwed him or anyone else. That's actually part of the problem. I feel like I was cheated out of sowing some wild oats before you and I fell in love. And now that I know that this young man I am so attracted to wants to screw me, I can't stop thinking about it at work today. Because Andrew is still a child, I could never fall in love with him. But you know that I had only a few physical experiences before meeting you, and I feel like I was deprived of some of the experiences you got to sample before we were a couple. I was so aroused when I got home and needed you to love me because Andrew and I were flirting back and forth. My skin flushed and my pulse accelerated, and I had a very sad and shocked expression on my face. This was not what Molly wanted to see, so she quickly tried to take back her last statement by saying, "Billy, I didn't say that right. I love you and making love to you is so much more than love, making it the most fulfilling thing I have ever felt, but I can't get this young man out. I feel like I deserve this, so I'm asking you to give it to me. I've told you that I would never cheat on you, and I respect you, so that's all true, so I'm asking you to give it to me. However, I suppose I'm also telling you that I've made up my mind to do this. Out of my system, and I've decided to have love making with him and take this one-time opportunity to have my last physical experience with another man before you and I decide to get more serious about kids, careers, etc." I jumped up from the table, filled with hurt and anger, because this wasn't how she had envisioned it. It was supposed to be just love making, nothing more. She had to convince me, Billy, that I only love you, that I want to be married to you, and that I want to grow old with you. This is just love making, a one-time thing to get it out of my system, and that I swear I'll make it up to you for the rest of our lives if you let me have this. I've heard that you have already cheated on me. You have an emotional relationship with someone from work, and you've shared intimate details and spent time with him. Are you sure you haven't slept with him yet? How will you make it up to me by making more love? Spending more time with me? Or giving me gifts? Stop it, Billy. It's not an affair. And no, I haven't slept with him, but I did kiss him a few times after happy hour. I'll never love him and I'll always love you. I feel like I need this if you loved me as much as I thought you would give it to me. It's just love making, not love, and it doesn't mean anything, but I can't get it out of my head. I need this and I promise I'll make it up to you, Molly. I can't believe you're asking me this. You've already disrespected me by beginning an emotional and physical relationship with this guy. I can't believe how naive I've been. I thought you loved me as much as I love you, and I would never hurt you like this. Do you even realize how much you've ruined our relationship? Billy, stop being so dramatic. I love you only, and you can trust me, which is why I'm telling you this. It's about me, not you, and it's pointless love-making. Maybe I'll change my mind. You're Dell. How can you believe that you say you love me but expect me to accept your infidelity? I will never get over this if you go through with it. Do you understand that I started crying, ran to my car, and was backing out of the driveway? Billy, grow up and come back. This isn't bad. It will make me better and allow me to give you more love and attention in the future. Screw making love to someone else will make you better. When Molly called me after me, Billy said, "Please come back. We can get past this. I'll make it good for you." All I could do was stare at her in deep sorrow and agony as I drove away into the night. It would be good for me. What the hell is this unbelievable God? What do I do? Molly sat stunned and depressed, resting, realizing that she had messed up. She knew deep down that it wouldn't hurt our love and relationship, but he didn't come to her, or questioned her love. Now she questioned his. She didn't want to acknowledge that she had caused serious harm, but she had already made plans to meet Andrew for brunch on Saturday, spend the afternoon and evening making love at the Hilton, and return on Sunday night to dedicate herself to Billy. She thought Billy would move past it and their relationship would improve. But after 2 hours without hearing from him, she became extremely worried that he was in a bad mood. When he left, she expected a call to patch things up. But since she had no contact, she tried calling him but he didn't return her call. She left a voicemail for Billy, saying, "I'm sorry you took this so dramatically and got hurt. Please don't be hurt. I love only you and want to be with you forever. This is about me getting something missed in my past." She got ready for bed, checked her phone again, and saw no response from Billy, so she lay down and fell into a fitful sleep. I cried as I drove to the Hilton in the next suburb, checked in for the night, and spent too much time in the hotel bar getting wasted. Later, I ignored calls, and a voicemail from Molly, who was still shocked that she believed this was acceptable and could claim to love me while insisting on making love outside of our marriage vows. I knew she could be stubborn, but I couldn't let her get away with this. It was a mistake that would end our marriage, and I had to persuade her of that before it was too late. Even if I stopped her this time, she would eventually do it behind my back, which would destroy any remaining trust and respect. And if I allowed her to do this, I would never feel the same way about her again. Molly woke up Wednesday morning, moved over to cuddle with Billy, and gasped when she realized he hadn't slept in their bed. She checked the guest bedroom and the couch, but found his car gone. She was very upset that she didn't see any texts or voicemails from him, so she called. If I agreed, she would resent me for not standing up and demanding she be faithful. There were no good options, and I felt like this was the beginning of the end. My only hope was to talk her out of it and get her to go to counseling with me to understand why she felt this need. However, he did not respond, and after she hung up, she received a text message saying, "Molly, I'll be home at 7 p.m. Please eat before I arrive tonight. We need to have a serious conversation about our future." Molly was first upset that Billy had stopped being so dramatic, but she soon became concerned when he seemed to be implying that they might not have a future together. She loved him and wanted to be with him, so she had to let him know that tonight she was going to work, and as soon as she sat down, Andrew approached her and said, "Good morning, hot. You look good enough to kiss and cuddle. Are we still on for Saturday? Did you tell your husband that I should be worried?" "Andrew, let me handle Billy. He won't hurt anyone. He's not sold on the idea, but he'll be okay." "Yes, we're still on for Saturday, and I'm excited about it." After he left, Molly texted Billy again. "Billy, are you okay? Please know that I only love you and want you. Our future together will be better and better." An hour later, I responded sarcastically. I called in sick on Wednesday, and after Molly left, I returned to our house to work on the RV, mounting the solar panel, finishing the electrical and Wi-Fi connections, getting a new toilet cassette, and filling the water tanks. I planned to finish the cabin on Thursday, making it road-ready, but the work took my mind off of my pain. I was saddened by how much this was hurting me, and she thought she could make it up to me with love and attention, thinking that things would soon be as good as before, if not better. I prepared a list of my possessions and went to the bank, where I canceled our joint credit card and opened a new one in my name, canceled our joint checking account and opened a new one for myself, paid off the mortgage for 2 months using our joint account, and then divided the remaining amount between her and my savings. After that, I went to a craft beer and burger to get ready for our conversation at home, and Molly returned home at around p.m. and, when she noticed that I wasn't there, she made a sandwich and considered how to have a more constructive conversation. When I got there, she ran up to me, kissed me, and gave me a tight hug. "Billy, please don't ever leave like that without telling me that you're okay. I know you're hurting, but I was worried because I love you, only you, and we are solid and always will be. So you knew I was hurting and you love only me. I wish that were true, Molly, but I doubt it now. It's unthinkable to me that you would say you love me and then ask for permission to cheat. Billy, don't you dare say, I don't love you. If you approve, it's not cheating. It's just a one-time affair. Stop being so dramatic and immature. Molly, you want to talk about drama. I'm looking at the woman I loved, trying to convince me that she loves me, asking to have sex with another man for a weekend before returning to our previous relationship. That will never happen. How would you feel if I slept with someone else? Said that you were just making love, which is unfair, and you know it, Billy. You've had dozens of women and a variety of experiences, so I didn't have that chance. If you went out and made love to someone, I would have kicked you out. Why should it be different for me? Why shouldn't I do that? Why do you think I can forgive you? Molly, with tears in her eyes, said, Billy, I couldn't live without you. I love you and want to be with you. Molly gasped, scurried to the kitchen, and sat down begging Billy, please know that I love you so much. Don't let this ruin our marriage. You are my husband, my lover, my best friend, the father of our future children. You are my everything, Molly. Yes, I spoke to him today. He is picking me up this Saturday, and I'll be back Sunday evening on Monday. I'll be the sexiest, most loving wife you could hope for. You already were that. I wouldn't think about doing this on Saturday since this conversation isn't going anywhere. If you finish it, we're done, and I'll be back on Friday night. Let's spend that night together, Billy. Please don't abandon me again. We need to finish this. I'll bring dinner on Friday night at around p.m. I'll let Andrew know what time he's picking you up on Saturday. But you don't have to go. I want you to meet him, Jesus, Molly. If I see him, I'll kick the shit out of him. Why would I want to meet the man who is attempting to ruin our marriage? I'll never be okay with you making love to anyone other than me, Molly. If you want to sleep with other people, get a divorce. Your request today has already hurt us more than you realize if you cancel this and leave. Billy, please don't leave like this. As I walked out the door, I turned off the voice recorder and headed back to the Hilton to book a room for Wednesday and Thursday night. I called my boss and explained that I had a family emergency and needed the rest of the week off. If you promise to go to counseling with me, maybe we'll be okay. If not, we're finished. Tell me your answer Friday night and think hard about it, Billy. Don't give me ultimatums and don't walk out. We'll be all right, even better after this. Slumping over the table after I left, Molly grudgingly agreed without asking for specifics. She was convinced that I would never leave her, but she questioned whether we had already ruined our relationship beyond repair and whether carrying out her plan would make it worse. Molly was obsessed with the idea of being with Andrew and made the compromise of agreeing to marriage counseling while still seeing him for the weekend. She dragged herself to bed, her mind racing, and she realized how hurt and angry Billy was hurting us both, but she felt stuck because she had already committed to it. She thought Billy's arguments were irrational because he had dozens of women to look back on during restless times, and she had never had sex once just for her. He needed to get over this situation. On Thursday, after Molly left for work, I came home and began packing my belongings into the RV, making sure to take things Molly wouldn't miss. I also went to the thrift store to donate clothes I had never worn. I brought some tools, sports equipment, and leisure items to my best friend Tom's house, along with a few pen and ink drawings my uncle had done that I knew Tom would like. We had a beer together, and when I told him what was going on, Tom gave me a disbelieving look and said, Billy, you have to be kidding. No way would Molly do that to you. Are you sure about this? Maybe something is wrong with her crap. I'm not sure of anything. My entire world has been turned upside down in a week, and it seems like Molly has changed. No, I've told her that we can do that if she doesn't sleep with the guy. But if she does, I don't see any way back. I've tried talking her out of it, and now I'm going to see if I can give her so many peaks in such great love-making Friday night that she'll listen to reason. Good luck, man. If you need anything, let me know. She's attacking me and getting weaker with every excuse she makes about why this will be good for our marriage. With the peaks, but to ease your pain, I'm getting a new phone number and I'll text it to you later, brother. Keep calm and hang in there. I went to Verizon and got a new phone number and changed our current one. I guess both of our illusions have been shattered. I never saw this coming, but I'm doing everything I can not to go hit the living hell out of the guy. If it comes to that, let me know, and I'll help with the payback. I took the RV for a test drive after completing the cabinetry, getting new license plates and insurance, and being ready to go. I erased all of my personal emails and documents from our home computer, effectively erasing my previous life. I wrote an email to family, friends, and co-workers outlining Molly's actions and my response that if I couldn't talk her out of it, she chose to have an affair despite my objections and knowing it would end our marriage. I prayed I would not have to send it, but I wanted everyone to know what happened, so I also included the voice recording from Friday night. I spoke with a divorce lawyer who said that since we had similar incomes and no children, it would be a 50-50 asset split. The only question was whether she would get half of my K, which she had over because she had a defined pension plan that complicated the division. I decided that rather than lose half to an unfaithful wife, I would withdraw the money with a 40% tax hit. I intend to wait until after the weekend in the hopes that convince Molly to change her mind. As Friday drew near, I felt that she held the key to our future and my love for her, so I prayed that she would make the right decision. I bought shrimp, swordfish, and a Caesar salad, prepared the grill, put white wine on ice, mixed gin and tonics, and waited for Molly to get home. She was thrilled to see me cooking, so I gave her a long, tender kiss and said, "Thank God you came home, Billy. I miss you so much. You won't leave like that again. You love me, Molly. Why don't you? I've told you over and over again that I love you and that this isn't about you. It's something I need to get out of my system. Molly, we've talked about this enough. For now, enjoy your Gamp shower and bring a G&T. When you get back down, I'll grill the food and we'll enjoy dinner. It might be our last, but tonight let's celebrate our marriage, Billy. Stop talking like that. You're bothering me by doubting our marriage, and I'm getting irritated. Good evening, but don't worry. I'll be back in something that shows you how much I value you." Molly went upstairs to take a shower, and when she came downstairs, I was astounded to see that she was wearing a French-made outfit with a small white cap, a tight white blouse that showed off her assets and midriff, black thigh-high silk stockings, a short skirt, and inch heels. My God, you look so gorgeous. I want you to see a sneak peek at the other clothes I bought you'll love just as much. Let's grill the food. I'm hungry, but I really want to get to dessert. She winked, and we rushed through dinner, finishing the G&T and most of the first bottle of wine. When I couldn't wait any longer, I lifted her into my arms, carried her upstairs, and laid her on the bed. She reached for my belt and zipper, but I stopped her. Tonight is for you, Molly. I'm going to worship your body and make this love unforgettable so you know how wonderful we are together and why we should belong to each other. Just make love to me today. Let's put the tension of the past few days behind us and solidify our love. We made love that evening, and when we were finished, Molly was utterly content and fell asleep quickly. She woke up at 8:30 a.m. After last night's love mac, she felt a mixture of guilt, fear, and lust. She knew it was time to get dressed because Andrew would pick her up at 11 o'clock. For a moment, she wondered what she was doing and how anything could be better, but she felt committed and chose to continue through after hearing me in the kitchen. Put on her robe, smelled bacon, eggs, and coffee, and came down to see me, Billy, last night. It was amazing, and I see our future together. Thank you so much, Billy. I didn't reply, but I finished the eggs and asked if she wanted any. I better not eat now, Billy. Thank you, Andrew, and I'm going out for brunette. I need to shower and get ready, so please stay so we can say goodbye and hug Molly. I won't beg you anymore. I'll just ask you one last time. Are you certain you want to make love with a man who isn't your husband? I looked at her with pain and sorrow and shook my head, saying, "I won't leave until I tell you goodbye." Molly flinched at my words, sensing a finality that made her shudder. "Billy, I love you and this will be okay, you'll see, I just need to get this out of my system, we'll be stronger in the future." "Yes, Molly." It's incredibly sad you believe that. She flushed, tears forming as she ran to the bathroom. Why couldn't he just get past this and let her have this fling? Could she move on with her making up for this gift to him? My God, she thought, this has changed Billy. I'll have to work hard to ease his pain. He loves me so much and always gives me what I need. This will be no different. She showered, put on makeup, and wore a stylish yet hot dress with high heels and stockings. When she came down with her weekend bag, it felt like a knife to my chest to see her dressed for another man. "You're okay, Billy. You know I love you, don't you, and you love me." "Molly, I wanted last night to be special for us. It was a celebration of our marriage, and I wanted it to be a memory we could cherish forever." "Billy, don't say that this is our last night together. That's cruel. You're making me feel bad for one pointless weekend of lovemaking. I need to get over this. Of course, we'll be together and better than ever." She tried to kiss and hug me, but I turned her away. "Our night is over. You chose a weekend of pointless love-making over your husband. These kisses don't matter." But before Molly could react, a car honked outside. "Billy, stop the drama. I'll be back Sunday night, and you'll still be my only love and life partner." The horn honked again, and Molly asked if I should introduce Andrew. "You see, he's just a kid I'm attracted to. This is one and done, and I deserve it. You have a history with dozens of women to fantasize about, and I have nothing. Not a threat." I looked at her in pain and anger and said, "Don't let him in or I'll break his nose jaw, and crush him, I'll enjoy his screams." Molly shrank back in shock at my rage, but she picked up her bag, walked to the door, and turned to smile. However, she saw my pain and blew a kiss, saying, "Billy, Sunday night and beyond I'll be the best wife and partner. I love you. Goodbye, Molly." I waved, and she stood there for a moment thinking before leaving. I sat down. Molly appeared to be in her own world, explaining that this was necessary for her and beneficial for us. After crying for 30 minutes in a kitchen chair, I got up and started moving my belongings to the RV. In the bedroom, I discovered Molly had left her wedding rings in a bowl on her dresser. I put them in my pocket as my sadness turned to growing anger. 2 hours later, I had packed all of my important belongings, including the paintings, sketches, and sculptures my uncle had left me. When I saw our wedding album with pictures from our wedding years ago, which had once brought me joy and peace, I became even more irate and angry. I hurried to the garage, got a box cutter, cut out the triangle section with our faces from several of the pictures, and threw them into the fireplace. The RV's queen-sized bed was carefully wrapped, boxed, and placed underneath it. My clothes didn't all fit, so I hurriedly sorted through them and threw the rejects in the garage trash. I put the photo album and the letter on the kitchen table, took off my wedding ring and put it on top, wrote my last letter to Molly as tears fell on the paper, put the letter in an envelope with her name on it, and scheduled an email to all of our friends, family, and contacts for Monday at a.m. Knowing that I would be long gone by then, I walked out, got into my RV, and drove away from my former life. It was now mid-Saturday afternoon, and Molly and Andrew had eaten brunch and checked into the hotel he had reserved for the weekend. They slowly undressed, and Molly was thrilled to see another man naked and erotic. He led her to the bed, kissed her a couple of times, and then tried to make love right away. She told Andrew to calm down, take your time, and enjoy the day today and tomorrow. He then jammed his fingers into her for a few minutes, even though it wasn't pleasant or hot to her. He then swiftly moved to the missionary position, grunting for about 2 minutes before yelling, "I'm going to climax. Do it with me, Molly." When he was finished, he rolled off and laid back on the bed, and Molly lay there in shock, barely aroused and not even close to climaxing. Andrew jumped up and hurried to the bathroom, saying he needed to clean himself up and bring her a washcloth. She turned away from the bathroom, wondering what she was doing and what she had done to make Billy feel so hurt over something that was turning out to be more pointless than she had initially believed. She quickly took her cell phone from the bedside table and composed a text message to Billy, saying, "My love, please know that I love only you. Please tell me that you are okay and that you love me too. I can't wait until I see you again." Andrew returned, and, still young, he was prepared to go again. Making 3 times that afternoon, and even though she finally climaxed the 3rd time on her own initiative, they got up, dressed, and went out to dinner. The meal was awkward, with little conversation and no genuine physical or mental connection between them. The magic she had felt before was gone, and they danced after dinner, but it felt like dancing with her brother or uncle. Although Andrew wanted to get back into the room right away, she kept ordering drinks, delaying him until, after they arrived at the room, both of them were extremely inebriated and struggled to get back. She quickly undressed, collapsed onto the bed, turned away from Andrew, and fell asleep. When she woke up the next morning with a hangover and could feel Andrew snoring next to her, she decided that since the damage had already been done, she should try again to see if she could have any memorable lovemaking with the young man. She tried to give Andrew a morning BJ, determined to turn him on enough to do something exciting in bed. She was enjoying it when it suddenly climaxed in her mouth, and she recoiled in shock and disgust, spitting it out and wiping her mouth furiously. She then jumped up, ran to the sink, and repeatedly rinsed her mouth. Andrew sat up on the bed, still naked, and said, "Wow, that was amazing. I haven't done that in years. I didn't realize I was so close." She turned to face him, looking at him with disgust and shock, and yelling, "You jerk! What the hell is wrong with you?" Andrew, an immature, self-centered ass, looked shocked and said, "What's wrong with you? You're the one who wanted this so badly, and you were going down on me. I thought that's what you wanted." She screamed, "You don't have a clue, and you don't get to talk to me like that. I don't want to hear another word from you." After gathering herself, she brushed her teeth, rinsed her mouth with the strongest mouthwash she could find, and turned on the shower as hot as she could. Felt as though she was covered in a filthy, slimy film that she couldn't get rid of after trying to wash away the weekend Andrew and her incredibly bad choices. She thought about how she had ruined her marriage and how the man she loved could have been so foolish and self-centered. After she dried off, she checked her phone and saw that Billy had not returned her texts. She tried calling him, but it went straight to voicemail, so she sent him another text. "I love you, are you okay? Please?" She dressed, put on makeup, and then unlocked a bathroom door. Andrew was still sitting on the edge of the bed, naked. She said, "Andrew, this was a mistake for me. I only love my husband, and this weekend with you has shown me that no one can compare with him. I'm going to go home immediately to hug you and tell you how much I love you. This has become a pointless and miserable mistake. You're the one who wanted this so badly and talked me into it, so screw you, which, go back to your husband and try to forget how wonderful the love-making was with me. There are plenty of women more attractive than you who would love to be with me, Andrew. You're just a boy and you have no idea how to please a woman. I'll get a cab and head up to the room. I don't want to see you again for lunch, happy hour, or dinner. I'd appreciate it. Get out of your fantasy." She approached the room, collected her belongings, and left Molly. She took a cab and arrived home at around p.m. "I wish I could have been here for that first trip, and I'm shocked and disappointed that he didn't wait for me." When she first arrived home on Sunday, she noticed that the large RV that had taken up half of her driveway was gone. Wow, I guess Billy actually finished that thing and he must have chosen to go for a test drive or overnight trip. The first physical change she saw was that Billy's uncle's oil painting of the waves smashing onto Moonlight Bay in Ananitas was no longer above the fireplace. She looked around and noticed that many of Billy's other drawings and paintings were gone, as were the sculptures of the bison his uncle had made that were sitting on the mantel. "Oh no, Billy, what have you done?" she screamed into the house, even though she knew no one was around to hear it. She took out her phone and discovered that Billy had not returned any of her messages. She texted his phone, and when the Verizon voice answered right away, "This cell phone number is no longer in service," she screamed and fell to the ground. "Oh God, no! What have I done, Billy? How could you do this? How could you leave me like this?" She screamed, got up, and hurried as fast as she could to the kitchen. where she collapsed once more when she saw Billy's wedding ring on top of a letter to her that was lying on their wedding album. She sank into a chair, picked up the ring, and stared at it, unable to. I found your wedding rings in the bowl on your dresser, which perfectly symbolized how you abandoned our marriage. You knew that wearing the ring would mean admitting you were cheating, ruining your idea of a free pass for the weekend. I think you believed without a doubt that you could do this. She ripped open the letter and began to cry as she tried to read it. Molly, as you can imagine, this is my final goodbye. Maybe I'm a coward, but I couldn't face you after you walked away from me and our marriage. You hurt me more than anyone has ever done. You took my love, pulled it out of my chest, and stomped on it. You cheated the moment you started. I don't know how you could think it was acceptable to break our vows, humiliate and disrespect me, and think it was just a harmless weekend fling. But the truth is that it meant everything. It showed me that your love for me, if it existed, was far from what I deserved and what I naively thought I had. I told you our love, marriage, and friendship could never be the same again, but you called me immature and dramatic. I suggested counseling to save our marriage if you stop the fling before it happens, but you ignored me. You sealed it with kisses at happy hours and dinners, thinking it was okay. Then you delivered the final blow by assuming I would be okay with you having an affair. How could you think you deserved it? I did everything to pull you back, but you ignored me. I don't understand how you could think I would be okay with this. It's like you didn't know me at all, and obviously I didn't know you because I trusted you and never thought you could destroy me like this. I could have physically stopped you, but I knew that would cause resentment and a slow end to the marriage. That our last night of lovemaking would be the last time we were together if you went through with the affair. But you ignored me, assuming I would be there for you no matter what. You probably wouldn't have told me about future infidelity after seeing what we are going through now. But I knew they would come. I suppose we'll never know. I can't be in a relationship without trust, and mine in you is completely broken. I couldn't love you again, wondering if you were thinking of someone else when you walked out the door. If the lovemaking was bad, you would look for another fling to get it out of your system. If it was good, you would crave it again. I can't forgive you, trust you again, or even be friends with you. I have to cut you out of my life, just like you cut my love out of my chest. A few practical things I've done include splitting our assets, paying the mortgage for the next 2 months, closing our Verizon joint account as of Monday, canceling our insurance and joint credit cards, removing my name from the mortgage and giving you a quick claim deed. The house is yours to sell or live in. It's not my home anymore, and I'll never return. I sold my car and moved into the RV. Someday, I'll pawn your wedding rings for gas money so they'll help me deal with my pain and anger. I did a few things like taking a box cutter to the wedding album and finding some pieces in the fireplace. Feel free to burn them. It's a fitting cremation of our marriage. I've also pinned an email to our friends, family, coworkers, and contacts regarding your decision to cheat and my decision to leave. Have a day or two to get your story ready, but perhaps you can begin by accepting responsibility. The good news is that you now have my permission to sleep with whoever you want. It would be nice if you didn't choose married men because you've already destroyed enough lives, but go ahead and find whatever it is that made you throw us away. You can divorce me, sell the house, move, or do anything you want. I don't care. If I find a woman who truly loves me, I'll worry about getting a divorce. I quit my job, cashed out my K, and my only plan. Billy Molly had to read the letter multiple times to believe it was real, but she could see Billy's tears on the sheets as he wrote it. She got up, saw the damage to the wedding album, and barely made it to the sink before throwing up and almost losing consciousness. Now, I'll never see you again, and I'll take a left out of the driveway, but other than that, I'll start a new life and hope to leave your memory behind. Goodbye, Billy. When he did, Molly crawled to the living room couch, curled up into the fetal position, and sobbed herself to sleep because she couldn't believe she had been so stubborn and fixated on her lust for a new lovemaking partner that she ignored all of Billy's warnings and ultimatums. She had destroyed her life in a matter of weeks, and now she knew she would pay the price for her betrayal forever. Never really love, I had it all and gave it up for the worst. Most pitiful lovemaking and in a hole who just wanted to get in my pants and didn't know what to do. The long drive was filled with thoughts of Molly and whether he was doing the right thing. But Billy decided not to make any decisions for weeks. He couldn't even imagine being friends with her, much less partners. However, if his anger subsided and it became more important to be with her than without her, he might open a dialogue, but he gave it less than his full attention. Billy decided to follow the Mississippi from Minneapolis-St. Paul down to New Orleans. A 25% chance of occurring, and it would be a long road back. Molly had to face the shame and suffering of explaining her stupidity and justification for the fling to her parents, relatives, and friends. She could tell that none of them would accept her position or understand her reasoning, so she now couldn't even explain it. She had to acknowledge how terribly she had deceived herself into believing the fling wouldn't affect them. She had to explain how she didn't realize until now how it would destroy. She saw how she had lost the respect of her family and friends and how they started to turn away from her. Molly called Billy's best friend Tom once a week to beg for Billy's location, his phone number, or any information about him. She begged Tom to tell Billy that she loved him, that she had finally realized and accepted responsibility for cheating, and that she would do whatever it took to save her marriage and her one and only love. She waited every week for a call or response, but it never came. She stopped dating and had a lonely life at work and at home, and she prayed that something would eventually bring Billy back to her. Anything to get him to talk to her again must be told to him. I love him, I miss him, I messed up badly, and I truly understand that now I'll do anything to fix this if he gives me a chance. I'll never divorce him. Stayed faithful to their marriage while waiting for him approximately a month after Molly's affair. When Andrew's doorbell rang, a man wearing a ski mask brandishing a police baton swiftly shot him twice in the head and neck until he collapsed, then kicked him multiple times in the lap while he lay in agony. The assailant then left after telling him not to mess with married women. As time went on, Molly and Billy considered what had happened, and neither could comprehend how she believed it would be all right. 3 years later, Molly was about to leave for work one morning when a man asked her name and, after she confirmed, he handed her an envelope. "You have been served," Molly said, without crying or reacting, just standing there with a slight smile. "All the best, Billy. I hope you have a wonderful life."